Welcome to the Wichita Litter Study Citizen Scientist Training. This training will walk you through the details of the locations, how to gather data, and what to do if you have questions while collecting data. First, thank you for volunteering to be a citizen scientist for the Wichita Litter Study. With your help, we will be able to gain an understanding of the litter in Wichita. The purpose of this study is to gain a snapshot quantitative look at the litter in Wichita, which can use the data that will be collected, compiled, and analyzed to inform city leaders and community members about the litter in Wichita. This study can also serve as a tool to increase public awareness of the litter and identify what potential litter reduction actions could be for the city. This study is not meant to give a detailed analysis about one particular type of litter or to be all-inclusive of litter concerns in Wichita. It is meant to be an overview that can guide future actions. So, where will you go to collect data? There are 12 parks in Wichita in which we will collect data. Each park will have a targeted site within it that will serve as the data collection area. Each area will have 2 data collection events 4 to 5 weeks apart. You are welcome to participate in as many data collection events as your time allows, keeping in mind that you are not committed to completing all data collection events for any area. Just a few things to note. Each site will have site coordinators. They will be your guide for the data collection. They will be able to answer questions and assist with collection and logistics. The boundaries for the targeted area for collection will be marked and explained by the site coordinators. Data collection will last for 2 hours or until the designated location is clean, whichever comes first. All data gathering equipment will be provided. Keep in mind that for this study, each piece of litter represents one data point. Remember to think about the litter that you are collecting as data. We are gathering data, not litter. And it just so happens that this particular data collection helps to clean up our parks. What should you bring to a data collection event? Every event will be outside and will occur during June and July. Be aware of the weather and plan accordingly. Remember to wrap, splat, and hat. Wrap yourself in appropriate clothing for sun protection and for the heat, including closed-toed shoes. Splat on a strong sunscreen before going out to your location, and don't forget a hat. Water will not be provided, so bring enough water to stay hydrated for 2 hours. We encourage you to use a reusable water bottle. Some parks may have water fountains, but some may not, so please plan accordingly. Please follow current guidelines and mandates regarding masks. Refer to the city, county, and state websites regarding COVID guidelines. You are encouraged to bring your own gloves to use to gather data. However, vinyl disposable gloves will be available at each event. All gathering equipment, such as trash bags, buckets, clipboards, grabbers, etc., will be provided. Most importantly, safety first. Bring your own work gloves with you, or you can use vinyl gloves that the site coordinator will have. Regardless of your choice of glove, don't forget to wear them. Follow current masking and distancing guidelines, erring on the side of most cautious. We will be outside for every event. However, please keep apprised of any current city, county, or state mandates. Please watch your step. Every location has a variety of terrains. Be careful with your footing on hills, uneven ground, transferring from pavement to dirt, and near water. And do not get into any waterways to gather data. If there is data to collect on land near a water body, gather it with caution. Grabbers will be available for hard-to-reach areas. Again, do not get into water bodies to collect data. Do not pick up any biohazardous waste. If needles, blood, waste, dead animals, or other biohazards are found, log it on the data collection sheet and notify the site coordinator. Flag markers will be available to mark where the biohazard is, and the proper authorities will be notified to gather all biohazardous materials. Also, do not pick up any hazardous waste. If hazardous waste such as chemicals, acids, etc. is found, log it on the data collection sheet and notify the site coordinator. Flag markers will be available to mark where the hazardous materials are, and the proper authorities will be notified to gather all hazardous materials. Okay, you're dressed appropriately, you understand the safety precautions. Now let's gather some data. You will collect data in pairs. One person will be responsible for picking up the data, calling out its category and condition, and the other person will be responsible for marking the data collection sheet appropriately. More on this shortly. If you have children under 16 with you, they will collect data and record data along with you. So, step 1, pick up a piece of data. Examine it. What is it? Is it a bottle? Is it a cup? It is a bag? Is it a utensil? Is it a can? Is it a toy? Of what material is it made? Is it paper, plastic, styrofoam, metal? In what condition is it in? Is it fully intact? Is it bent, crushed, partially degraded, rusted, broken, very degraded? Are there any distinguishing marks, such as company or business name or logos? Please note, we are not gathering business names to publicly shame businesses or organizations. We are gathering this information solely to allow organizations and perhaps the city to approach area businesses on an aggregate scale when reaching out to talk about litter reduction strategies. Our reports will not mention specific names. Remember to fully inspect the data that you collect so that it can be accurately logged. Step 2, record the item on the data collection sheet. This sheet has rows and columns that you will use to record the data that you have collected. First, find the item on the item list. These categories are divided by material type as well as item type. For example, there's a row for plastic cups, a separate row for styrofoam cups, and a separate row for paper cups. Be sure to find the appropriate description for your item. Next, determine in which condition the item is in. Is it fully intact and in overall good shape? Is the item partially intact or starting to degrade? Is the item very degraded? Make a tally mark in the appropriate column and row. Are there distinguishing characteristics such as brand names, business names, or logos? Write it in the item notes section. Continue to mark the items collected according to what they are and their condition, taking note of any distinguishing marks or characteristics. Not sure how to categorize something? Refer to your data collection reference sheets. This is the data collection reference sheet. You will have copies of this reference sheet at all data collection events. This reference sheet provides detailed descriptions of what items may fit into each category. For example, foam cups include any cup of any size made of polystyrene or styrofoam. Glass bottles, jars, and containers include items of any size, shape, or color that's made of glass. This is the data collection photo reference sheet. You will have copies of this photo reference sheet at all data collection events. The photo reference sheet provides a short explanation and photo examples of the various condition options found on the data collection sheet. If the notes section on your data collection sheet fills up, turn your sheet over. There you will find additional space to take notes. The item list is not filled in because you may have different items that need more description space than other scientists. On this sheet, you will write a general description of the items, such as plastic to-go containers, followed by the name or distinguishing characteristic. You may do this for as many categories as needed, or you can ignore this sheet if it is not needed. Some items will be too small or unrecognizable to categorize. Those items will be counted using volume containers. If an item of any material is smaller than 4 inches, such as cigarette butts and bottle caps or tabs, not able to be measured, such as tangles of string or fishing line, or unrecognizable, such as clumps of indeterminate objects, you will log those items on the volume data collection sheet. 5-quart containers will be provided. The small, unrecognizable, and unmeasurable items, such as tangled string, line, or wire, cigarette and cigar butts, bottle caps and tabs of any materials, and other unrecognizable litter, will be put into the bucket. Once a 5-quart bucket is full to the top, place a tally mark in the number of containers area. Then dump the bucket into your trash bag. Make a tally mark for each bucket that you fill. If you only fill your bucket partially, mark partial in the number of containers section. In the notes section, write down anything noteworthy about your buckets. For example, if one of your filled buckets is mostly cigarette butts, please make a note of it. If you find hazardous waste, such as paint, batteries, or chemicals, note the approximate size of the object, how many of that approximate size you find, and any notes that can describe the item. Then notify the site coordinator of the hazardous waste. Remember, do not pick up hazardous waste. The proper cleanup crew will be notified to properly dispose of it. If you are unsure if an item should be included in volumetric collection, you can use the box on this sheet to determine if it is the appropriate size. For example, a broken plastic fork or the bottom of a broken glass or cup might be small enough to be counted in the volume measurements. If you are unsure about an item, ask your site coordinators. Step 3, put the gathered data into the trash bag. When the bag is filled, take it to the designated spot that your site coordinators have shown you. Step 4, repeat this process until the designated area is clean or until 2 hours have passed, whichever comes first. At random times, the site coordinator will ask you to switch roles. This ensures that the data being collected is reliable. You may be wondering, what if I forget all of this? Don't worry, your site coordinators will go over some of these details again at the data collection events, and they will be available to assist you along the way. You can also watch this video as many times as you'd like on our Wichita Litter Study website. Here are some answers to some questions that may arise. What do I do if I find any hazardous waste? Do not pick it up. Take note of the item on your data collection sheet. Mark the item with a flag, then notify the site coordinator and they will contact the proper department to clean it up. Hazardous waste can include, but is not limited to, needles, waste, paint, or chemicals. Do I have to move large or heavy items? No, do not try to move or lift heavy items. Mark the item on your data collection sheet and notify the site coordinator who will contact the proper organization to have it removed. What do I do if I get injured while collecting data? Notify the site coordinator immediately. They will assist you with the proper steps. What do I do if I am unsure about how to categorize litter? Use the data collection reference sheets. Ask the site coordinator. They will be able to provide you with guidance. If I find a beverage container that still has the lid and straw attached, do I count each piece separately? Yes. Mark the cup, lid, and straw on the appropriate rows and columns on the data collection sheet. If I find a crushed can, do I count that as an intact aluminum can or as small litter? Even though it may be under 4 inches, a completely crushed aluminum can is considered intact and should be logged on the sheet. If it is crushed and degraded, then log it on the sheet under the correct degraded category. If I find a crumpled or folded receipt that is less than 4 inches, do I count that as a receipt or as small litter? If it is intact, just crumpled or folded, mark it on the data collection sheet in the appropriate row. If it is small bits or fragments of paper, count it as small litter and place it in the volume container. If I find a beverage container that is broken with only the bottom 2 inches intact, do I count that as a degraded cup or small litter? This will count as small litter because we are unable to determine what the original item was. If I find a small lid that is fully intact, do I count it as a lid or small litter? This is counted as a lid. If it is broken but still identifiable, log it as a degraded lid on the data collection sheet. What is other data? Other data are items that are identifiable but do not have a listed category. For example, plastic toys do not have a category on the data collection sheet, so a toy would be tallied under other plastic. Do I have to distinguish between types of metal, such as tin or aluminum? No, you just quantify the numbers and the types of objects found. This is also the case for fabrics. You do not have to identify the different types of fabrics, only the numbers of the objects found. What do I do if I fill up the notes line? Turn your data sheet over. There is room to write notes in the table on the back. Congratulations, you have completed the training to be a citizen scientist for the Wichita Litter Study. So what's next? You will receive an email with a link to sign up for the date for which you would like to participate. Reminder emails will come as the date that you have chosen gets closer. Watch the Wichita Litter Study website for updates. Share about the Litter Study with your friends, family, and colleagues. And as always, contact us with any questions. Thank you for signing up to help us with this study. If you have any questions, please contact Michelle DeHaven at the listed email address. Thanks again, and see you soon.